because he's talking about Catholic Central, and he's talking about their brotherhood. Now you might be thinking, why that quote? Why a quote about Catholic Central's brotherhood? I mean, we have no boys, and so therefore, no brotherhood. But we do have girls, and we have sisterhood. In these 4 years, I've seen enough, and I've heard enough, and I've been through enough to believe that Catholic Central's brotherhood has been matched, and it's been matched by us. Here at SCA, it's part of our mission to create an environment where relationships are stronger than the strongest of friendships, and where true sisterhood and true family is what high school is all about, next to, of course, getting a solid education. At St. Catherine's, we're always striving and pushing each other to embrace our role in the Catholic Church. A big part of what we believe in is the feminine genius. When I was a freshman, we were really learning this concept. Since I came from a public school where saying Jesus was practically illegal, I thought that the feminine genius was about a feminist empowerment movement that said inside every female is a genius, which is wrong, but I still think it's pretty true. As I learned more and more about it, I then thought, so the feminine genius is just telling us that it is not our role to go into women's seminaries and become women priests, which is also wrong, especially because we can't actually become women priests. But actually, the feminine genius isn't about telling us what we can't do or can't become, but the opposite. It's telling us to go out and assist the world, aid the world with our unique gifts as women. The feminine genius is telling us that the world needs our unique love and our compassion. And that's what St. Catherine's is all about. It's all about using our unique God-given gifts to set the world ablaze. But before we go out, ablazing up the world, St. Catherine's becomes our home. It becomes a place where no matter how far we go, how old we get, or how many memories might begin to fade, it will never leave our hearts. What makes SCA so unique, so special in its own beautiful way, is that every girl who goes here becomes an important figure in the history of our school. Yes, we are new. Yes, we are still growing. Our traditions are still being built, and we're still getting the hang of things. And because of all these things, every girl is needed. And yes, every girl is more than just wanted. And yes, every girl who steps into St. Catherine's is able to grow alongside of the school. That is why we are special, amongst all other schools, because we are still laying down our foundational building blocks, and that's what your daughters are. They're the building blocks of this school. It is your daughters that are building the traditions that will carry on years after we leave. It is your daughters who are making this school amazing. St. Catherine's is one of those schools that even though it's not very big, it has the ability to change the students' lives in a big way. It certainly changed my life. When I was a freshman, let's say St. Catherine's wasn't really where I expected to be or wanted to be. I didn't think I belonged here. Jesus wasn't exactly my best friend yet. I was quiet and afraid of change, and I was constantly trying to not be myself to fit in. I was just a public middle schooler who wanted everything to say the exact same. If you told me when I was in 8th grade that I would be president of the student body at an all-girls Catholic high school, I would have laughed so hard at the, as Miss Irvin says it, at the crazy coming out of your mouth. As my first day at SCA begun with my mom dropping me off, and we had argued the entire car ride here. And boy, what a scene I was making in the parking lot that morning. I was kicking and screaming just to show her how badly I did not want to be here. She finally unhinged me from the car and threw my backpack to me and sped away so fast without even bothering to close the car door. I had nowhere else to go but inside. And then, when I went inside, I thought my dream high school years and my life were over and doomed. It definitely took some time to get used to, and somehow, in all that time in between, this is where I ended up here, giving you a speech about how truly amazing St. Catherine's is. We are and will always be, always envied, often imitated, and never matched. We are and will always be St. Catherine's. Thank you.